Let's go on to note brokering. So for those of you who are on this call who may have your cash invested in other assets at the moment, this one is for you. So note brokering allows you to collect a fee for bringing a note buyer and a note seller together. So you're really dealing with the same people that we talked about in the previous example. You're just going to be the middle person. So this is really similar to transactional funding, but the key difference is that you are now the investor, the note investor. So in forums just like this call that you're on right now, you're going to connect with investors from all different backgrounds, and you will run into some, like our note seller here. There we go. Who they want their cash today rather than getting a bunch of payments spread out over time. All right. So let's say that she has a note that's valued at $30,000. Okay. The borrower owes $30,000, but the seller's in a bind. All right. And she is willing to let it go for only $26,000, as long as you can cash her out of the deal in 2 weeks or something ridiculous, which is pretty normal. No problem. You are both going to sign a contract to secure the sale at that price at $26,000 for the next 2 weeks. But today, how much money do you have to put down when you sign this contract? Nada, nothing, not yet. So you've got 2 weeks to find another investor who wants to earn a good return on their capital. By the way, these people are everywhere. It's anyone who has an old 401k, anyone who's saving for their kids' college, anyone who's looking to supplement their Social Security with extra cash flow. I can have a whole module on where you can find these folks. Actually, I do, but just trust me when I say, not only can you find these people, but they're actually looking for you. All right, I digress. So within 2 weeks, you're going to find someone who's really excited to grow their money with double-digit returns and get their double-digit returns on their capital, and you agree to help them get this note that you now have under contract. But oh, we got to find the person. All right, we found that person. But with this person, we don't have to sell them this note for this $26,000. For this person, they're happy to pay $29,000 for this note because it's still a good discount and it's still a great return. Okay. So for some of you, hopefully this is starting to click, but for everyone else, let me walk through the whole scenario so we can catch up here. First things first, we are going to get a contract, get it in writing, just to be sure that contract has the new price. So now our 2 weeks is up and it's time for you to pay, or is it? So all 3 of you are going to participate in the closing together. So at the start of the day, the note seller will have the promissory note, and the buyer, the note buyer, is going to have the $29,000 in cash ready to close. But remember, due to your expert negotiating skills, you've arranged for the seller to only receive $26,000. So when the transfer happens, only $26,000 moves over. So where does that leftover money go? No, tell me in the chat, where does it go? To you. The seller gets the cash she was promised, the buyer gets the note that she was promised, and you get a fee for making it all happen. Heck yeah, Priya, right in my pocket. Okay. So who is this for? All right. This is a one-time fee and it doesn't produce cash flow, so it's off the list. But what about the other 2 options? Now, I would argue that it does work for both, but really, I like this for folks who are low on investment capital and are looking to create enough wealth to start investing more passively. Now, I don't want to paint a rosy picture here telling you that you can do all this in 20 minutes from your laptop. I mean, over time, you certainly can, but in the beginning, you are going to have to hustle to go to real estate investment meetings. You're going to have to meet some potential investors. You're going to have to connect with potential note sellers and really educate yourself so you sound confident when you're presenting these deals. But for the folks who are willing to do the work, this could be a great return on your time, especially if you're just starting out. Because what you're going to do, and they talk about this in wholesaling as well, you're going to learn from people who, when you're out there pitching your notes to folks, they're going to tell you, well, what about the unpaid balance? What is that? And they're going to ask, what is my loan to value? What's my investment to value? What's the credit rating of this borrower? When they ask those questions and you have to find answers, you're gonna learn along the way. They're actually going to guide you in your learning process. So I definitely recommend this for everyone to add it into their pocket as a tool that you can use in growing your wealth. So investment profile, investment amount, nada. You don't need any money to get this going. Typical return is somewhere between $1,000 and $15,000 in fees. It just depends on the size of the note and what you negotiate. I actually just wrapped up a note wholesale for $20,000. So it's definitely possible when you have the right connections. The risk index is relatively low. You're not coming out of pocket at all. There is reputational risk, so you want to make sure you can actually close these deals when you make your commitment, but financial risk is relatively low. Investment period is very short. Once someone commits to a note, they should be ready to close on that note within 15 days, and 15 days is actually quite long. So you will get paid very quickly in this process. The legal considerations, if you do this without the proper documentation and your buyer falls through, you could actually be responsible for continuing with that contract. So you want to make sure that your contract gives you the flexibility to back out if your buyer backs out. And I'm 100% a proponent of full transparency. There's nothing to hide here. So we do want to make sure that we are transparent in these transactions.